It's really changed my life for the better by a long shot.
I feel like I make 300 new friends every single time I go to a convention. And at this point, I mean, going to conventions is really just like going to a big party where all your friends are. Because I know that like 20 of my favorite people are for sure gonna be at this event, and I'm for sure gonna get to hang out with them. I'm Amanda Lynn, and I've been cosplaying for 8 years.
I'm Lauren Bregman. I've been cosplaying for about 4 years.
And we are the Birds of Play. I grew up in San Diego, which is the home of San Diego Comic-Con. So every year during the summer, I would just see these people walking around. And then once I got into high school, I started going to the convention, and I was just amazed. So my very first cosplays were kind of low-key, casual ones at San Diego Comic-Con.
My first exposure to cosplay was actually shadow casting the movie Reap of the Genetic Opera. I saw these amazing costumes on the screen and wanted to recreate them perfectly. It was like, I have to have that costume. So it just became like an ultimate goal to have those costumes and have them be perfect. So we were in this cast together, and there was a whole group of girls that were part of the cast, and we all loved dressing up together. And at Comic-Con 2011, we were like, well, we should create these cool costumes and go together to Comic-Con.
And once we actually got to the convention, we were all having so much fun, and people started asking us, do you guys have a website or a Facebook page or like some way that we can contact you? So once we got home that night, we were just talking about how much fun we had and how we should, you know, make it a thing. The Birds of Prey is one of the only all-female superhero teams, one of the only like designated all-female teams. And then since we all love puns, it became Birds of Play, which I still think is really funny.
For the most part, I will come up with the idea, and then Amanda will move into my house and we'll work on it until it's done.
It's true, I haven't been home in like 2 weeks. It's all very collaborative because I like to do a lot of research. And so I'm always being like, reference images, look at all these reference images.
And she'll come to me with like a folder worth of images, and I'm like, oh yes, now we can start on this.
And then I'll be asking Lauren like, okay, well here are 2 versions, which one of these is gonna look better in real life? Like, and she'll be like, that's impossible. No. I very, very, very specifically wanted to be Dark Phoenix from the Dark Phoenix saga, as drawn by John Byrne, as written by Chris Claremont. Lauren was able to really help bring it to life, and what I thought the coolest part was that she was also able to help make it look the way it's supposed to look on me.
Yeah, somebody bringing me like a piece of art from the comic books, and then
like, well,
showing it to me, and I'd be like, well, we could do this, but we're gonna have to make concessions here, here, and here, because
yeah, like if we did real life, it's not gonna look good on you.
Even just White Queen and Black Queen, the way they're drawn is a cropped corset, and like in real life, that's gonna give you some major love handles. It's not
unless
gonna be
you have unless you have rock hard abs. But I mean, even these girls are telepaths. Why would they be lifting weights? Like, yeah, I'll lift that weight with my brain.
Well, you're telekinetic. I'm not. So
that's true. That's true. So you do have to work out.
But you know what? I can make everyone think I was working out.
That's true. Emma can just like project rock hard abs. Maybe she's just in sweats all the time.
I am really OCD about costuming. Everybody wants to have the best costume and the most accurate costume and the most accurate fabrics and everything, and that's something that really drives me to make better costumes.
For me, it's really about the characters and the media that I love and I'm obsessed with and I'm really into. When you're cosplaying, you're not just doing, you know, a rendering of this character, you are bringing them to life.
Every time we create a new costume or a new character, we're always dissecting like their personality and key poses, maybe comic book cover art and stuff like that. Not only looking like the character, but looking like we hopped right off the page.
When I get to meet an artist or a writer in a costume that I made based specifically on whatever they did, that is just the absolute best for me. Chris Claremont is probably one of my all-time favorite comic writers.
And both of us actually recently got it to be in a Chris Claremont documentary.
We got to be, you know, the physical representations of Jean Grey and Emma Frost,
which was a really, really cool experience. I'd been working like a bunch of odd jobs and stuff, but ever since getting into the cosplay community, I've been able to quit like regular day jobs and really pursue costume design as a permanent career, because there's so many cosplayers out there that want costumes made that don't necessarily know how to make them themselves. So being able to do cosplay full-time basically and make cosplay creations and stuff is really spectacular.
Since I started cosplaying, I've had my picture taken a lot more, and so now I actually do get some paid acting and modeling work, and that's something that I never would have even looked into if I hadn't, I guess, had the confidence boost of getting my picture taken at conventions. At conventions, the response is always fantastic.
I personally love like just brushing past somebody and hearing them a few feet behind you being like, oh my god, that was the best Harley Quinn I've ever seen. Like just hearing that is like the best feeling ever.
When you are on your way to the convention, you get a lot of, it's not Halloween, we always look good. So, I mean, no one's super critical, but a lot of people just think you're weird. I don't tend to like to date outside of the nerd subculture anyways, but when it does happen, it's always kind of, some guy will be like, so, I saw a lot of weird stuff on your Facebook. And it's just like, well, it's, you know, it's a litmus test.
I definitely think that body type does affect my choice on cosplaying, especially if I'm not comfortable wearing a particular style or cut, then I'm not going to have as much fun at the convention if I feel uncomfortable in my own skin.
There are certain costume types that I feel good in, that I feel like I look good in. Like, I like bodysuits. I like the way they, you know, hug everything, and I think that looks really nice. If I don't feel like I can do the character justice and be the physical embodiment that I would like to be, I generally just don't do it. For me, the overall driving factor is the passion I have for whatever it is I'm recreating. So it has to be a character that I love, an outfit that I would love to wear, because I am not putting the time and money in for something that I'm not crazy passionate and excited about.
I'll see a costume and a lot of times I'll base my desire to do that costume on how difficult it is, or learning a new skill, or challenging myself to make something better than I've done before. Over the years and all of my cosplay commissions and stuff, I've probably created hundreds of cosplay pieces and costumes. Like a lot of times I'm having to learn a new skill on the fly, which is helping me expand what I can do in terms of commission work.
I have a lot of costumes. My favorites though are my Marvel costumes, like my Phoenix lineup, which is at this point just like cookie cutter molds, like this color, this color, this color. Gotta catch them all. I need all the Phoenixes.
I think the Star Trek bunnies take the cake for me in terms of how much fun and what a great crowd reaction we got from it. And we got to cosplay with my Lynn from Team Unicorn and Leanna Vamp, and that was really fun and just like a lot of exposure. And my husband was a Kirk Hefner. I hope we get to do it a million more times because it was so much fun. But most recently is the Hocus Pocus costumes. It's one of my favorite movies
of
all time. So this is the craziest costume I've ever made.
Winifred Sanderson from Hocus Pocus.
This costume started out with white silk and rayon blend velvet, the symbols and stuff all the way down the front. It also goes all the way around to the back. I had to hand draw all of the designs on the back of the fabric.
So then you go over it with the acid.
And then you let the acid dry, and then you have to iron it, which burns away the pile of the velvet. Once the burnout was done, you have to scratch away all the velvet pile. And then we took it outside and spray paint dyed it, and I had to do 2 coats of dye on every piece.
Then you go in and you get to paint all the parts you burned out.
And then all that had to dry, and then I had to sew it up. We got to go to the 20th anniversary screening, and we got to meet some of the cast members, and they saw us in costume, and they were remarking on how awesome we are.
And I mean, these Hocus Pocus costumes, they're like museum quality replicas.
They're insane.
What motivates me to continue is there are just always more characters I want to be.
Yeah, there's new comics coming out, and she comes over and she's like, "Hey, Lauren, I found a new costume that I want." And I'm
exactly.
like,
it's like,
you
look,
so much.
Jean Grey got another new outfit. The more and more I get into the convention cosplay culture, the more I love it. And it opens a lot of doors, and it gives me a lot of very cool opportunities that I'm so glad to have been a part of.
It's just been really cool how many doors it has opened. And like I've seen in my own business with Castle Corsetry just the exponential growth in terms of like the networking and how that comes back to help you promote yourself and your business.